Good morning. It's just about time for us to go ahead and get started. I know we have a couple other classes that are going to be joining us a little bit later in the program. They have a different start time, but I think we'll go ahead and get started. Oh, here comes Mrs. Hickey's class. Let's just see if she can hop in. I know she was having trouble earlier. All right. So what you're looking at right now is we are looking down the Bitterroot Valley. We are in Florence, Montana, just on the MPG Ranch, right outside of Missoula. So I know we've got, let's see, Miss Hickey's class is from Hobson, and I think we've got Cup Bank on as well. Awesome. Good morning, everybody. We are going to switch. Oh, hooray! Mrs. Hickey's class, you are in. Let's see if they can join with audio. Good morning, Cut Bank. We see you. Fantastic. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to introduce you to Rob and the crew at the MPG Ranch with Raptor View Research Institute. So, Rob, good morning.
Good morning. Hey, kids.
How are you doing today?
We're doing great. We're ready to catch some eagles, hopefully.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so why don't you start off? I have a couple questions for the students just to get us started. And then we're going to go into a little bit more in depth about what's happening, all the things you have at the table, the research you're doing, and we'll take a look at the live cam, see if there's any eagles out there today, and we'll go from there. But just to get everybody started, and you guys can go ahead and type in your response, or if you want to unmute, you guys are welcome to unmute. But I want you to take just a second to think about the following questions. So the first one is, what do you think that golden eagles eat most of the time? So go ahead and take 30 seconds or so in your class, talk about it, and then choose somebody to report back out. I don't know, Rob. Golden eagles.
They're pretty big.
They're pretty big.
Pretty fast. They're pretty powerful.
Yep. Oh, I bet they have a lot. There's a lot of food they eat.
It's like, what don't they eat?
Yeah. Oh, we have a couple. Ooh. Oh, somebody has been doing their research. I love this. Cupbank says groundhogs, squirrels, and other meat.
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome.
Groundhogs. I think a golden eagle would choose a groundhog or woodchuck, which is also a woodchuck, over almost anything. Yeah, that's.
Oh, that's so cool. One question: do they eat fish?
Golden eagles do not eat fish. I won't say never, but very rarely. Bald eagles, on the other hand, eat a lot of fish. 50% or more of their diet is fish. But golden eagles are more of mammal and bird eaters.
Yes, mammal and bird eaters. Okay, next question. You can go ahead and type it in on the chat. Where do golden eagles like to nest? And if you're on the live stream, you should be able to type in as well. So where do golden eagles nest?
Golden eagles love to build nests on overlooks where they can see the entire landscape. They're like sitting on the top of the world. When you're in a golden eagle nest, which a golden eagle nest can hold me and sometimes another grown person in the nest. That's how big they are. And they usually have this incredible view of their territory. They like to nest on cliffs, but they'll also nest in large trees. And again, they build these big stick nests that are large enough to hold a couple of grown men.
Oh my gosh, exactly. And Cut Bank again with cliffs and trees. So they were like right. I think they've maybe studied a little bit of golden eagles. I'm just gonna go out on a limb.
Well, Cut Bank has a
All right, we've got perfect. Oh, Mrs. Jordan's class, which I believe, let me remind, where are you guys from again? I know this. Oh, you're also from Cut Bank. Awesome. So we've got a whole bunch of Cut Bank schools in today. That is so awesome. Okay. Right now what we're doing is we're just going through a couple basic questions. So I'm asking actually students to respond. So the next question for you is, what habitat is important to golden eagles? So you can go ahead and either unmute your microphone, let us know, or you could type it in the chat. Well, I know at the MPG Ranch, we've got some pretty cool things, like the Bitterroot Valley has cliffs on one side, trees and hills on the other. There's a river in the center, and there seems to be a lot of golden eagles.
This is a great spot for golden eagles, and most of Montana is great for golden eagles. Golden eagles tend to prefer the mountainous areas or the cliffy areas, and the bald eagles tend to stick more to the river and the riparian areas, but they do intermingle. And yeah, they like mountains and they like steep terrain. And why do you think they like steep terrain?
Oh, that's a good one. Why do you think they like steep terrain? If you guys want to unmute your mics, you're welcome to do so. I have a note in the chat that they like landfills. Is this something that you've noticed?
You're going to see bald eagles at landfills.
Oh.
You very rarely, if ever, will see a golden eagle at a landfill. What you will see at a landfill is a young bald eagle, which looks a lot like a golden eagle. Almost the biggest mistake in birding, when people come to me say, I saw a golden eagle hanging out with two bald eagles. And I'm like, probably not. It was probably a young bald eagle hanging out with two adult bald eagles. And so there's some ways of telling the difference. We could talk about those easy ways.
Totally. So Kimberly's class says they get a better view of everything also is their response to why do they like that steep terrain.
Yeah, that's true. A great view, and they can jump right off into the wind that'll lift them up. So the steeper, the more rugged the terrain, usually the stronger the wind and the updraft is, and 7 feet of wings, and the birds can get lifted right up, and they have masterful control over the winds and what they're doing.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so we're going to move in. I want to know a little bit about Raptor View Research Institute, and then we're going to talk a little bit about, well, you've got some friends with you, some other researchers, and we have a whole bunch of stuff that's happening on the table, and we've got some live cams, we've got all sorts of stuff. So we're going to have a lot to talk about and to get going. I'm also wondering, Mrs. Hickey's class, once they've joined, I might message them, see if they want to watch the stream, because they seem to be having trouble staying in the meeting. So first off, Rob, tell us a little bit about Raptor View Research Institute. What do you guys do?
Raptor View Research Institute was formed in 2004, and basically because I wanted to study raptors, eagles really bad. I moved to Montana from New Jersey in the early 90s. I went to college at the University of Montana, and I got a degree in wildlife biology. And I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to be able to study raptors and study different aspects of their ecology and their behavior that maybe I would have been more limited in doing if I was working, let's say, for the state or the Forest Service. So Raptor View Research Institute is it's what we call a non-government organization. It's a nonprofit. And we work with raptors, everything from the little tiny falcons to kestrels on up to golden and bald eagles. And we study migration ecology, habitat use, and we look at things like what's known as ecotoxicology. So what's going on in the environment, what might be affecting them. And we are educators, and we want to educate everybody from the scientific community down to even little kids, like even little preschool kids, about all things raptors and why they're important and why we love them.
Awesome. And we've got some more folks that are just joining us. Perfect. Mrs. Hinkle's class, I'm glad you were able to get in. That's awesome. And we have Hobson. It's awesome and Hobson all at the same time. So welcome, everybody. We're just getting an introduction to Raptor View Research Institute. We've got Rob Dominic telling us a little bit about what they do. And now I want to move into talking a little bit about the study and what you're trying to learn and what components are part of this golden eagle research study.
Well, first, the two main components are the people that are trapping them. So this is Chloe. Chloe is an owl biologist. She came to us to to fill in the in-betweens. When she's not working with owls, she's working with us, catching eagles. And these guys are out here every day, 7 days a week. This is Adrian.
I'm going to mute it.
Here and Chloe here. And so these guys are raptor experts. They are what's going to make this happen. They're the ones dragging the dead deer out into the field. They're setting up the net launchers. They're running blood analysis right now on the eagles that we've caught so far this season. They're watching the cameras like some of you are. And when an eagle, and in this case today, even if a hawk lands on the bait, these guys are the ones that are going to run out there and do everything they can to catch them.
Oh my gosh.
So we couldn't do it without these guys.
I love it. That's awesome. So why, tell us a little bit about this study. Is this the first year that you're studying golden eagles?
No, we've been studying we started studying golden eagles. Officially, I did in 2001.
Oh, wow.
So I've been doing this for over 20 years. And the reason why we do these studies for long term, because you want long-term data sets, and gathering information over the long haul we're gonna learn a lot more about the species, especially when we're talking about species that may be species of concern, that could be in trouble, whose numbers are going down, and why those numbers are going down. So that's one of the things that we focus on, and by doing these long-term studies, we could see trends in the data. For example, we've been sampling lead in golden and bald eagles since 2011 on the ranch. And over time, we have found that 95% of the eagles have lead in their blood.
Whoa.
And you guys have probably read a little bit, or your teachers have talked to you a little bit about where that lead might come from. But to continue, and I can show you guys. Well,
so first off, you got the lead there.
Yep.
So let's go through the steps in the whole process of what happens. So before we even go there, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I want to just take a look at something here. So, all right, everybody, bear with me for a second. I believe we're going to do it like this, and let me know if you can see Raptor Tracker. If you can't see Raptor Tracker, unmute your microphone and yell at me if you wouldn't mind. I'm sorry, the MPG Ranch live cams. So what we're doing is we're taking a look at some live cameras, and this is what the researchers spend a lot of time doing. Am I right?
Yes.
Right about this? Oops.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch. We have dozens of Raptors carrying transmitters on their back that we could track their movements all day long, 7 days a week, sometimes for 5 or more years.
So I want to pause, and I want you to go ahead and unmute your microphones. Oh, we got a couple of things in the chat. Let me know, what are you seeing in this video? What are you seeing? Because this is live. This is happening right now. This is on the MPG Ranch. So you can either unmute your microphones or you could type in the chat.
What did you see, guys?
I'm totally seeing those magpies. They're so obvious, aren't they?
Cool. They're looking at a camera.
Yeah, we're looking at the camera. What other bird are you seeing?
Ooh, they all bursted.
An eagle.
If you see an eagle, you let us know. See, the magpies, when the eagle sees the magpies
Crows,
feeding, and the crows and the ravens, that gives the eagle the signal that it's probably safe to go down there and feed.
Oh yeah, there's something looks kind of big up there.
And when we see them all leave like that, sometimes it means an eagle's coming in. So my heart starts to race when I see that.
They saw some kind of raptor fly off. I think I saw that too, Mrs. Hinkle's class. You guys have really good eyes. That's awesome.
Really?
So we're going to have Adrian and Chloe are going to be watching that really carefully. And if we do have a raptor on this deer pile, this deer carcass, then all bets are off. We're stopping the program. You're going to see them in action as they go catch an eagle, which is pretty incredible. Okay, so first off, we're going to stop sharing for a second. Back to you guys. You are watching the camera, let's say that an eagle landed on the deer. What happens next?
Well, first of all, we have to catch our breaths because we get really excited. And then Adrian and Chloe will assess which camera it is, which trap it is, and they're going to hop in our Suburban and drive quickly and safely with their seatbelts on, but as fast as possible to get to the area where then they have a remote control. And then they're gonna see that the bird's on the bait. They push the button on the remote control, and it shoots a 20-foot by 20-foot net over the eagle. And then they have to run to the bait, take the eagle out. They'll put a hat on the eagle. It's called a hood, and that takes away the eagle's eyesight, which helps to calm them down. Then they'll put the eagle in an eagle straitjacket just to keep the bird safe and make it very easy to transport. Then we come back here to where we're doing this, and we're going to work on the eagle, and we will put a band on the eagle, which we'll put a metal band with a specially marked serial number. If it's a bald eagle, it'll get one of these color bands for easy ID.
This right here on the table.
Oh,
We have a band. I'm going to find a band. I know I got a metal band somewhere. I forgot to get it out because every eagle is going to get one of these metal bands. Adrian's going to get one right now. And if it's an adult eagle, oh yeah, here we go. All right, so this is an eagle band. They come in 3 sizes, size 9, 9A, and 9C. I don't know why they don't have a 9B. 9s are the smallest, but you can still see that's pretty thick. So every bird gets that, and it's got a special mark on it. It's almost like as unique as your fingerprint. And so if anybody finds the bird or recaptures the bird, because there's other people studying eagles too, or let's say if the bird was hit by a car and somebody rescued it, there'll be a special number on here. I know that you can't see it, but it's easy to see from holding it. And then they call that number into what's known as the bird banding lab. And the bird banding laboratory in Maryland oversees all birding research in the entire country, and even in Canada and Mexico. So we have the metal band, and if it's a bald eagle, we're going to put one of these on. And why do you think we would put one of these bands on along with the metal band?
Ooh, good question. If you want to unmute your microphone and let us know, or type in the chat, go for it.
So if a bird has this band, the metal band, and then it has this color band, what's the advantage to having the color band?
Because they're special.
They're not dangerous.
They're not endangered because they're America's special bird.
And if you're looking at a bird, let's say an eagle perched in a tree, which one of those bands are you going to be able to read the number on?
Blue one.
The blue one,
Yes.
yeah.
And then what happens, and the same thing with wing tags. So bald eagles get the color band. Golden eagles will get the wing tag, which kind of rides on the bird's wing like that. And the reason we put wing tags on the eagle's wing is because golden eagles' feathers go all the way down to their foot. And so it'll cover the band up essentially. So you wouldn't be able to really see this color band very well, but you could see these wing tags quite well. And in fact, yesterday, we got a wing tag encounter. That's when somebody sees a wing tagged eagle and then they get on their phone and they Google wing tagged eagle, Montana, and then it links them right to us. And we tagged, it was less than 1 year old when we tagged it. And that was in 2011.
Wow.
And so we got a picture of the bird feeding on a carcass in Wyoming, and it looks awesome. The bird is now an adult. It probably nests somewhere in Alaska would be our guess, and it's down here wintering because they're highly migratory, many of these eagles. And so it was really cool to see that bird is alive and well, and now we know a little bit more. We know how old the bird is, and we know where it is. So little bits of information like that are very helpful. And then, as Allie started to talk about, this this is a major component of our research. This is a Eagle satellite transmitter with solar panels on it to keep it charged. And if we're lucky, we'll get to see one of these get put on an Eagle, but it rides on its back, kind of like your backpack. It's nice and light. And the birds, it's less than 3% of the bird's weight. So what would that be for if a kid weighs 100 pounds, what's 3% of 100 pounds? That's a little math question.
Mm-hmm.
3% of 100 pounds.
I bet some of our high schoolers could do that instantaneously in their head.
Yeah. How many pounds is 3% of 100? Basically what I'm saying is it's very light, and then we have it all.
Yep, they said 3 pounds.
There you go,
Yep.
right? There you go. So we put it on the bird. It has this little breakaway patch here, and with a little stitch in there. And if the bird picks at it enough, this transmitter will fall off. We can go collect the transmitter after collecting a lot of very useful, neat tracking information on birds, and then we could put it on another eagle. So I can't see what you guys see right now, but I think we're going to look at some tracks.
We definitely are. I'm wondering, well, a couple things. First off, I want to see if anybody has any questions before we go on. And then we can take a look to see sort of how those tracks look. So I'll give you a second. If you have any questions, you can either type them in the chat or you can unmute your microphone and go ahead and ask. And then we're going to look at some tracks. Then we're going to find out what Adrian and Chloe are up to, so diligently working over here at this end of the table. All right. How are we doing, guys? Any questions? Okay. Remember, go ahead and type in at any point and we can address those questions on the chat. All right, so I think it is time. Let's go see what we actually, the information that you receive when you have an eagle that has a track or a tracker backpack on it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Again, please be patient with me. All right, and this time we're going to be seeing Raptor Tracker. So Raptor Tracker, here we go, is a super cool application that RVRI, Raptor View Research Institute, and MPG Ranch have built together. And over here on the left, you can see that we have a bunch of different golden eagles with names. They also have other types of birds. This is on the resources as well, so you guys can play with this. It's really fun to take a look. It's on the website that we sent you guys, so there's a link to that. Before we get in, we do have one question. Have you ever put a GoPro on an eagle?
No, that would be so neat to do. And I've seen it, falconers. If any of you guys know what a falconer is a person that flies and hunts with birds of prey. And so there are certain falconers that will have permits to fly golden eagles. And I've seen the footage of a GoPro on those birds, and it's incredible. That's the best. You get the eagle eye view as they're diving down thousands of feet, where they see their handler or the falconer way down, just looks like a little speck in the landscape, and then they come flying in at 100+ miles per hour. Because golden eagles are amazing in that they can fly, they can dive at over 200 miles per hour. They can catch anything from a mouse to a pronghorn antelope, and even in some cases deer. Adrian and I watched a golden eagle chasing a deer last fall, and I think it was just kind of trying, it was a buck mule deer, and I think it was trying to, kind of looked like it was playing with it, but I think it maybe if it was able to get the deer to get spooked or get injured, or we don't know, or maybe it just was going to take it down. It worked that deer for about 20 minutes.
Whoa.
But yeah, if you can get a GoPro on an eagle, that's our dream. Someday.
Maybe one of you students will end up coming to work with Rob and be first to GoPro it.
Technology, advances in technology, which we see all the time. Computers are getting better. Phones are better. Someday we're going to be able to have a camera part of the
that's so
transmitter.
cool.
I almost guarantee it. I hope it happens soon because that'd be the best.
Okay, so I have Raptor map up right now, and maybe Rob, maybe you even want to come over so you can see the screen, because this is what they're looking at right now. So I have all of the golden eagles selected, and these are all the golden eagles that you have backpacks on. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
So I'm actually going to deselect all of them.
And you can see these are highly migratory ones. You see those lines going up into Alaska. That's where they summer, and they come down here to western Montana to spend winter.
So I've got Clarice. She is the one raptor that I have gone ahead and selected, and I'm going to just move this little timeline. We're going to zoom in on her just a wee bit so we can see what's happening a bit better. Down at the bottom, you'll see that we have just about a month's worth of data from Clarice. So she's kind of a new bird to the study, right?
Yeah, the team caught Clarice this winter.
Okay.
It's a big female golden eagle, and females are larger than males and more powerful. So you know.
So just pulling out a wee bit, it looks like to me like she's over maybe in the Swans. Is that where is she?
Yes, she looks like she's in the Swan Valley, and I want to tell the kids to ignore that one long line.
Okay.
That's an errant point, and we will filter that out. That's just a glitch in the transmitter.
So let's take a look what happens. I can click the play button, and we'll see how Clarice kind of moves around, and you can see that Clarice is pretty happy staying here. I'm going to move her back over so we can see it one more time. Then we're going to hit pause.
And you guys can see Flathead Lake up there.
Oh, is this Flathead?
That's Flathead. No. Yes, that is Flathead.
Okay, okay.
Just to give you an idea where we are.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so I'm going to move this back over here. Then I'm going to hit the pause button as soon as Clarice comes back on the screen. And we're going to zoom in a little bit. And I'd like you to do some observing. Tell me what you see. Why do we think Clarice might be hanging out around this area? So I'm going to keep us out kind of far at the beginning, and then I will zoom us in as we go in. So you can go ahead and either unmute your microphones or type in the chat. But let's just make some observations about the landscape and where Clarice is hanging out. We'll just give them a second here.
Think about what drives the eagle. What's the eagle's primary goal in life every day?
Also, think back to some of those questions we asked earlier about habitat and food sources.
Yes.
Nesting sites. All right. They see that there's a lake and there's probably a lot of gophers or small animals to eat.
There could be. Yeah, very well.
Let's see what some of the other classes have to say.
Gophers or ground squirrels, which is what they really are I don't believe they've come out of hibernation yet. They might have. We're very close to where they're going to start popping up and running across the top of the snow in some areas, even up by Cut Bank. But in our area, I don't think they've come up yet.
So we have find a mate and nest. So are we to that season?
Well, you know what? We are in that season for our birds around Montana. They are setting up shop. They are doing courtship. They are bringing nest materials in. But the ones that are summertime, that summer up in Alaska, they're not there yet. They haven't flown back to Alaska. But again, in Alaska, you get 24 hours of daylight, so they can keep it going all day long. But you're right. That could be something. We don't know where Clarice summers, guys. Clarice might be what we call a local, which means it's a bird that nests in western Montana. So yeah, we've got to watch these points very carefully to start to see if we start to see clusters in an area that would indicate they're building a nest.
There's a pretty strong cluster, it looks like. Maybe we'll have to zoom in on that.
Yeah.
So I'm also seeing roadkill, and I think we're going to talk about that in just a second because we're going to zoom in and see what's happening.
Whoever said roadkill, you're on to something.
Exactly. And then we have that gophers are coming out in the Cut Bank area.
I was wondering. This is the males come up first, and this is really cool because with our satellite tracking, we have wondered what the eagles were feeding on out on the High Line and Cut Bank. And then we went out there and we saw that the gophers were out. So that's
cool.
that's a sign of spring. So thanks to whoever shared that with us. That's great.
Well, it's also helpful too. Like that's why I believe the term is citizen science, where you get reports from everybody, and that helps scientists.
That's great information. That's really good to know.
Yeah, with their research. So, where should we go first? What should we zoom in on first on, Rob?
Well, let's the Swan Valley is a narrow valley, and it's known for eagles, but whoever said roadkill, that might be a clue here because
should we get down to like this kind of cluster area?
Yeah, let's check out this cluster.
Okay, let's check this out and see what's going on here. Oh, I am seeing this little white line in here.
Oh, see, yeah.
So for those sharp eyes, that definitely looks like that would be a road. And I wonder if is that 83?
Yeah, that's Highway 83.
83, Highway 83 that goes up the Swan. Okay.
And that is, anybody who's ever driven that road, I've seen more deer on that road than anywhere else in Montana in the middle of the night when I was driving once. And when we see these points near the road, we can assume, I bet you if I went out to that section on 83, I would find roadkill. And you know what? My friends and my colleagues, they're Raptor rescuers and rehabbers. 2 days ago, they picked up a golden eagle that had been hit by a car out there.
Was it Clarice?
No, it wasn't Clarice. It was an adult male, but he looked all beat up. I wish I had a picture of it, but we're going to put a transmitter on that guy. He's recovering. He's not broken. Miraculously, he's not broken, but he was feeding on roadkill. And, they get really full. The car is driving by at 50, 60 miles per hour, and it's just these accidents happen. But, yeah.
All right, so we're going to head back over and take a look at what Adrian and Chloe are up to now.
Oh, yeah.
Because those guys they're pretty busy over here. And again, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them in the chat right now, and then we'll have a time at the end also where you can unmute your microphones. So, what are you guys, what's happening over here? What are you guys working on?
Okay, well,
let's see.
We have a portable lead testing kit, so we can test the lead in the blood of every eagle we capture. And the test kits were backlogged, so we've been waiting for the test kit, and we got it yesterday. So Adrian and Chloe are testing all the eagles that we've caught, and we can look at these numbers. And let's say this: I'm gonna just the units are micrograms per deciliter, but let's just look at it like 0 to 100. Anything between 0 and let's say 10 is background. Anything from 10 to 40 is what we call subclinical. 40 to 60 is clinical, and anything above or 40 to 60 subclinical, 60 to 100 is like clinical. And I'm sorry about these terms, and anything above 100 could very well be deadly. And so what we want is no lead in these birds. And I'm looking at numbers right now. I see 25, 21, 19, 27, 38. So all the eagles that we have sampled so far are showing elevated lead in their blood. Now, to put these numbers into perspective, if you guys went to the doctor, or if I went to the doctor, and they tested my blood, any lead would be cause for concern. Pediatricians, doctors that work on babies, they don't even want 1 or 2. So we're looking at numbers 38, 27.
Wow.
This is troubling. And we know where they're getting the lead because we've been studying this for all these years. And primarily, far and away, where they're getting the lead is from gut piles left behind by hunters who don't know about this issue. And what happens when, and I have something here I want to show you guys if this is the time.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. So
Okay.
I'm gonna have you. So if you take a look right here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have you scoot that way, and then we're gonna zoom in on it.
Okay.
So we can really get a close up. Whoop! I'm gonna have to adjust it just a little bit.
I'll come here.
Okay, and I can move you a little bit.
Okay, here we go. Does that work? Let's see. Yeah, I like the background.
Yep.
Okay.
We're getting lots of sunshine in the window here.
Let's see what we can do here.
Oh, that's good.
There we
Yeah,
go.
look at that.
So, here's our rifle bullets.
How about we do this so you're not straining? How about I move it over here?
Great, and I'll slide over.
There.
Here we go. And we get a good look here. And this is just a nice illustration. That's perfect. So here are our two bullets. This is a copper bullet that does not contain lead, and that's what it looks like after we extract it from the animal. This is a copper jacketed lead bullet, which is far and away what people use. And this is what it looks like when we take all the lead out from the ballistics test. And you see all this dusty particles here. Those are lead particles. And those can permeate into the muscle tissue and the guts of the animal for up to 2 feet. And so when an eagle comes along and finds a gut pile, it's like a bonanza. It's like awesome, right? And it's free food. And so they will start eating it. And if they ingest those tiny particles of lead, that's how they get poisoned. And so we always recommend using just the copper, because then you're not going to be leaving poison behind for eagles and other animals, and even us to consume. Yep, so this is the primary reason why these eagles are getting poisoned. And so we always, all of us here that hunt, we use copper, and it works just as well. And we don't have to worry about poisoning the eagles. So this is new. This is what science is showing us now. So if you go out hunting, or your parents do, suggest using copper instead of lead. And if everybody does that, we will eliminate lead as a poison to eagles and other scavengers.
That's pretty crazy. I want to go and I want to check in with Chloe and Adrian, because it looks like you guys have some results, or that you're looking at something pretty cool.
Yeah, so
tell us about your process, would you?
Here's their machine. And Adrian or Chloe, when you guys want to talk about what you're doing, because you guys are doing it.
Yeah, you want to?
You can go ahead.
You sure? Cool. You have the blood. I'm gonna go get the whole thing of blood.
Awesome.
Oh boy, the whole thing of blood. Are you guys ready for this?
And we would have this kit on the table, but it's got a really short extension cord. So I just want you to see what the computer looks like. And then Adrian he'll walk us through the part to where we put the sample in the machine.
Cool. So this is all of the blood we've gotten so far this season.
Let's zoom in on you
this
just a
winter.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of blood.
And so we try to take about just 2.5 to 3 milliliters per bird. And then we'll put half in one of these and then half in the other one. These are little vacuum sealed tubes. So once we open them for this, we basically save the other one for genetic stuff. That seal helps to keep it and prevent any contamination from the outside getting in, so that's why we try to keep them in too. Right now, Chloe is we have these little tiny glass tubes that we'll put in one of these vacuum sealed tubes. And just with capillary action, the blood just naturally sort of grips to that tube and goes up. And there's a little line on the tube that we get that blood to. And then after we get that, we will then put it into this little reagent. I'm actually not entirely sure what this does.
It's magic.
That's what the chemists are for.
Yeah.
So we put it in there, and then we sort of do a gentle shake for a couple seconds, and then wait a couple minutes. The blood will end up turning like a brown color, and that's when we know when it's okay to test it. So then, let's see here. We have these fancy little strips.
Kind of looks like a COVID test.
Yeah.
It really only takes about a drop of that blood reagent solution to trigger. So we put the little strip right in this machine. It'll beep, and then Chloe in a little while will put just a drop of it on this little X, which might be hard to see. And then we wait a couple minutes. And so we actually just did a bird before we started talking, and the lead came back as 59.6.
Oh,
That's going to be the highest for the season so far.
if that were us, we'd be getting rushed to the hospital.
Whoa.
Where we'd start a process called chelation to remove the lead from our blood. That makes me sad. That's unfortunate. Was that on Tiny Tim?
No, that was an eagle that we caught back on January 4th.
Is this a transmitter bird?
That was a bird that we made a call on and caught pretty late.
Okay.
And so
It's got a transmitter?
it does not.
Oh, it does.
Oh,
Okay.
bummer.
So.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Well, but that's
But
So
was
I'm
that a bald or a golden?
that was a golden.
a
Did it
golden
get
eagle.
wing tags?
It's really, really small.
Oh, was it a little guy? Okay,
Yeah.
so we do make calls. Sometimes if the eagles are too small, they range in size from the smallest one we've ever caught was 5.5 pounds, and the biggest one was like 14 pounds. The biggest one ever caught in North America was 18.5 pounds.
Wow.
So if a bird is on the small side, we sometimes elect not to put the tracking paraphernalia on them. So, if they're too little, we don't want to put a giant backpack on a little kid, right? So we have to make those calls. So, yeah.
All right, so we're almost out of time, but I want to do some questions first. And I want to go ahead and open it up. So we did have a couple questions in the chat already. Let me pull those up. And then if you have any others, you're welcome to unmute your microphone and ask or type them in. So one question that we have, and this is from Cutbank, is that they see many golden eagles in the Sweetgrass Hills. Have you ever tracked any eagles in that area?
I'm quite certain we have, actually. I need to, if I had my computer here, I'd be more than happy to look at our data, and I'll send it to your teacher, and we could send you a Google Earth file, because I am almost 100% sure we have had eagles in the Sweetgrass Hills.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that is awesome.
yeah, golden eagles, yeah.
So another question is, what happens with transmitters if the eagle gets eaten?
Well, that's a really good question. We have had transmitters turn up in the woods, in the mountains, let's say, for example, of Colorado, or even in Montana. And we know that golden eagles scavenge, right? They're facultative scavengers, which means in the winter, they elect to scavenge. They're not obligate scavenger like a vulture, which has to scavenge. That's all it does. Eagles obviously are excellent hunters, but sometimes they might scavenge a carcass of, let's say, a mountain lion. And if the mountain lion's around it might kill the eagle. And so we've had incidences of that. We have found our transmitters chewed up from maybe the eagle died of another reason, maybe lead poisoning, and then a coyote will find it, eat it, and then they chew on the transmitter like a bone almost.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
it doesn't taste very good.
And we had smaller transmitters that we put on osprey, for example, or red-tailed hawks, and we have found those carcasses, and we were pretty sure a great horned owl and a golden eagle killed the osprey.
Wow.
And we could see little talon marks on the glass part and we found the pile of feathers, and the legs were ripped off, and the head is gone. And that's so sometimes they do get eaten, and if we're lucky, we follow the signal of the transmitter because it stops moving. but it keeps sending a signal. And so those little fixed locations start to stack, and we're like, uh-oh, we got a down bird, we got to move on it. And we hustle to get there as quick as we can. Sometimes, though, the bird might be in Mexico. So then we have to call our Mexican colleagues and start emailing, making calls, and trying to find somebody to go recover the transmitter. So it's like a crazy scavenger hunt. You want to get there as soon as possible to be able to figure out what happened and if it was eaten by another animal.
Okay, we've got about 5 questions and 2 minutes left. So these are going to be our rapid fire questions. What percentage of eagles are local versus year round?
That's a great question. For the birds that we track.
Versus migratory, sorry.
Yeah, I would say 30% of the birds we capture here are local and the rest are migratory. And we've looked at that, but yeah, we have no idea when we catch them, whether they're a resident or a local.
Okay, wingspan of a golden eagle.
Between 5.5 to over 7 feet.
Quickly, what are the factors that determine if an eagle is a migrant or a resident? How do you determine that?
Basically, where it goes in the next couple weeks. If they start during March, it's migration season. And so we will be watching these transmitters. And if they start moving north, then we know they're migratory, because local eagles do not leave the region. They'll hang out in a several hundred square mile area, but they don't go all the way to Alaska and travel thousands of miles.
Are they territorial?
Yes, they are territorial on their nest sites, but they're really tolerant of each other in the winter. And one of the issues is when the migrants that come down here to winter get in the way of the locals, because we feel the locals have the best territory and they keep close tabs on that. So the migrants have to kind of move between the locals. And we see that with our transmitter data, because we have our locals and we have our migrants, and we can see it. It's really cool. These are great questions.
Okay, are transmitters expensive?
They're very expensive. They're $3,000
Whoa.
a pop. $3,000 a pop, and so that's why we want to get them back. So, it's really hard raising money for these. Fortunately, we have some great funders and people that can afford to help us with this, and foundations, and so they make sure that we keep getting these transmitters to collect these important, really important data.
Okay, are there any other types of eagles in Montana besides golden and bald?
Nope, we only have two species of eagles in Montana, in North America, although there's a stellar sea eagle that's been in the lower 48, which is a bird from Asia, Japan, Siberia, and we think it flew across the ocean and came down from the Aleutian Islands in Alaska, and now at last check it was in Maine.
Whoa.
It's flying all over the place. It's kind of lost. It's not going to find one of its own. That's a sea eagle. It's more closely related to a bald eagle.
Okay. Last question. Do the trackers have any impact on the bird?
That's a great question. We have studied this very closely, we and other researchers, and there's no, what we say, significant impact that we can say the trackers cause. Basically, the eagles get back to being an eagle real quick. We have never had a death attributed to the tracker. That's the best we can say right now, and we see these eagles sometimes years later. And sometimes after years, we'll recapture them if we get a chance, and we cut the transmitter off and we evaluate the eagle. We look for maybe did it have wear pattern or anything like that. And everyone we ever capture and take the transmitter off, they look great and they're healthy. So we're very, very careful about how you put them on.
Oh my goodness, we are out of time. Okay. Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you to all the classes for these fantastic questions. We appreciate you guys coming today, and I hope you learned a ton about golden eagles. I know I did. We will see everybody later. Thanks so much.
And I'll send that KML about the Sweetgrass Hills.
Perfect. I will send that out to you. You'll send it to me, and then let's see it. Well, I'll send it to everybody that was here just so you can see what that looks like. One more message. We have some thank yous. That was great. Thank you so much.